Good afternoon. My name is Laura Dickerson, and I would like to talk to you about autism. Every parent's dream is that their child will grow up, get a good job, feel valued, and have a sense of self-worth. For a parent with a child with autism, that may be lessened by what pediatricians, teachers, and unfortunately even their friends and family say. I've worked with individuals, young and old, that have autism, and I see this almost on a daily basis. Fortunately, I've seen over my years many adults with this diagnosis reach their dreams of becoming employed. And this is what I'd like to talk to you about today. I would like to expand your knowledge of how adults with autism can become employed like anyone else by receiving early intervention, adequate training, and with a good support system in place. Individuals with autism are most successful in their adult life when they receive early intervention. A pediatrician needs to give a diagnosis early on, even as early as 2, that they have autism by looking for signs. Then, once a diagnosis of autism is given, then they need to be referred to a good preschool program that has staff that are educated in working with individuals with autism. Parents also need to join a good support group or an advocacy group that can help them and answer questions and just be there to support each other. Stone, a writer on Autism Speaks website, says to find an early intervention program first and foremost. Parents need to be actively involved in their child's education as well. If they have a diagnosis of autism, an IEP needs to be written. And for those that aren't familiar with that, it's an individualized education plan. Parents also need to be strong advocates for their child and ensure that that IEP is being done as it's written, that those goals are being addressed and they're continually to be worked on. IDEA Act that was passed in 1974 that ensures that all children receive an education that speaks their needs, and that's on the Autism Speaks advocacy website. So I've told you how important it is for children with autism to receive early intervention. Now I'd like to tell you how with adequate training they can become successfully employed. People with autism can find and hold employment with adequate training. Each state has a vocational rehabilitative program, an agency that provides assistance and support for people with disabilities to become employed. Jim Rothrock, the commissioner of our Virginia Department of Aging and Rehab Services, states that DARS will work with these individuals and their families to realize this vision of increased options for adults and a true commonwealth of opportunity for all, and that's on the DARS website. So the first step is that referral to our DARS agency, and they begin doing an intake process. So they're going to evaluate the person's strengths, their weaknesses, and what their interests are. That agency then refers them to another agency that focuses on vocational training, and they know how to work with adults that have various disabilities. The DARS agency or any other state agency like that can also look for accommodations that may be needed, such as an iPad to help with communication for these individuals, or maybe it's using the iPad to have their daily tasks written down so they can access that and refer to that throughout their workday. So once that referral is made to DARS and then they do their referral, then the employment specialist that is going to provide their vocational training steps in. They're going to take that evaluation, they're going to look at their strengths, their weaknesses, their interests, and they're going to go out and help them find a job. They may even set in on the interview process with them if necessary. They're going to help them write that resume, but they're going to be their greatest support system in finding them a job. Temple Grandin, which has a PhD and also a professor with autism herself, explains in an article for the Indiana Resource Center, jobs need to be chosen that makes use of the strengths of people with autism or Asperger's. So now that I've told you how important job training is, let me tell you how important it is to have a good support system. All people, regardless if they have a disability, needs a good support system. They need people they can rely on. That may be parents, close friends, maybe members of their local church, neighbors. The team, whether paid or non-paid, are there to support the person to be as successful as they can be. Now, also may be a case manager through a local community service board that will oversee not only their job training and how that's going, but also their overall life, because sometimes with their personal life can go into how it's affecting their work life. And then Goodwill or other vocational training agencies can also, monitor and help them and support them. So I told you in the beginning of my speech how people with autism can still become contributing members of society through employment. I hope I provided you with the knowledge and resources on how best to assist someone that you may know or work with. Thank you for your time. How long was that?
Yourself, Pat.